Today I'm sharing my super cozy, high protein, and healthy shepherd's pie recipe. During the fall, I make this recipe pretty much every single week because it's extremely satisfying and great for a body recomposition goal, and it's really high in important nutrients. So it's also really nourishing for the body too. And to top it all off, it tastes amazing and is always a crowd pleaser. So let's dive into the recipe. My name's Autumn. I'm a certified clinical nutritionist with my master's nutrition human performance, and today's video is sponsored by Kettle and Fire. More on them in a bit. Okay, so first things first, we're actually going to preheat the oven to 425. So I'm going to get this started right now. Okay, next up we're going to make the actual top layer of shepherd's pie. So if you aren't familiar with shepherd's pie, it's typically made with russet potatoes on the top, like boiled mashed russet potatoes with the ground meat on the bottom. Russet potatoes are very high glycemic load, which means it causes a really big spike in blood sugar levels, which when you're looking primarily for a body recomposition goal, it's focused on fat loss. It's not an ideal food. It's not to say that I never have russet potatoes or never make shepherd's pie with russet potatoes, especially because I am more focused on increasing muscle mass now. So occasionally having those higher glycemic load foods actually helps with my goals, but those lower glycemic load options is what I especially focused on when I was on my postpartum 20-pound weight loss journey. So for that swap, instead, I'm going to be using cauliflower, which we're going to be adding so much flavor to this. Cauliflower is great because it does take on any flavor that you put into it, and it's very, very, very low glycemic load. So I have a pot of water boiling right now, and we're just going to boil these until it's like fork tender so that we can mash it. Cauliflower down. And you're in. So while the cauliflower boils and gets softened, I'm going to now start the filling. So I have a large pan right here, and I'm just going to put that on the stovetop over a medium like a medium heat or so, and then just add some olive oil in. Now, I originally shared this recipe on my blog a couple years back, and I use ground beef, which is technically, I think, a cottage pie, not a shepherd's pie. Today, I'm actually using ground lamb, which is more of a true traditional shepherd's pie. Ground lamb is obviously very, very high in protein. It's also one of the most nutrient-dense foods you can eat. Researchers recently studied the top most healthy foods you can possibly eat, those that are the highest in nutrients that are important for the body, for growth and development. Lamb was on that list. In fact, I'm going to have the blog post with the full recipe linked down description below, so you have a visual that you can print and follow along as well, because trust me, you're going to want this in your arsenal of recipes. So I'm just going to put this into the pan, and I'm actually doubling the recipe because I'm making it for a lot of people tonight. So I'm using 2 pounds, but the original recipe uses 1 pound. And then I'm just going to season it with some salt as well as a bit of pepper. And then I'm just breaking this up and making sure that it's cooked all the way through. Okay, so now that the lamb or beef, if you're using beef, is completely cooked through, I'm going to be adding the veggies. So I have carrots as well as mushrooms here. And then I also have a yellow onion, about 4 cloves of garlic, and some fresh herbs of rosemary and thyme. I'm gonna dump all of this in here. And again, I have the full specific recipe linked in the description below if you wanna check that out. And I'm just going to sprinkle on a little bit more salt on top of the veggies. I like to layer salt on when I'm cooking like this rather than putting it all at once. It helps to make sure that I don't over salt something, and I can always add just a little bit more if I need it. And I'm just going to saute this for about 5 to 7 minutes until the veggies are softened. So the veggies are softened. Now I'm just going to add in some tomato paste, which adds to that umami flavor. It is so good. Definitely don't skip that one. And if you're wondering why mine was solid like that, it's because I freeze tomato paste into little 1 tablespoon size servings, so I can just grab it out of the freezer whenever I need it. And then I'm putting in some Worcestershire sauce, which also really adds to the flavor. I like to use the original Leah and Parents. Is it Leah and Parents or Leah and Parents? Is it Leah and Parents? Honestly, I don't know. What I found is the other Worcestershire sauces have that caramel flavor in it, which is just no good. You want to avoid that. So I'm putting in just regular old Leah, whatever it is, Parents. And then I'm going to put in some bone broth, which I'm actually using today's sponsor, Kettle and Fire. Kettle and Fire is a really amazing, high quality bone broth company, and they slowly simmer bones from grass-fed cows to make sure that they can pull out as much collagen as possible. So I love putting Kettle and Fire bone broth into recipes like this one because it helps to add a really high quality whole food source of collagen, which collagen is amazing at helping to boost the overall satiety of the meal and helping to prevent hunger. And I know how to make bone broth. I made it in the past, but honestly, especially as a new mom, mom, I just do not have the time anymore to make it myself, especially to slowly simmer it for maximum benefits, which is why I love that Kettle and Fire is so convenient. I can grab it at my local grocery store. You can even get it at Costco or Target now, or you can easily get it online as well. It's just a really convenient way to make sure that I always have a high quality source of bone broth and collagen that I can just grab out of the pantry and put into any recipe. Obviously right now I'm putting it in the shepherd's pie, but I'll use it in soups and stews and chilies. Kettle and Fire just makes it so easy to add bone broth to pretty much any meal. And Kettle and Fire is super generous, and they're offering my community 20% off when you use code AUTUMNBAITS at checkout. So make sure you stock up. I'll have the link down description below. Okay, so I was just doing a quick check, and the cauliflower is very tender, so it's really easy to slice a knife through. So I'm going to turn this off, and now I'm going to drain it out and mash it with all the flavorings. And yes, both my oven mitts are Harry Potter. Okay, so for the flavorings, I'm going to add in some butter, which I have softened right here. This is just regular Kerrygold grass-fed butter. And then a bunch of shredded Parmesan, which Parmesan is one of the highest protein cheeses. So you're also getting added protein in with that as well, in addition to the amazing flavor it provides. And then I'm just going to put in a heavy pinch of salt and just mash it the same way that I would just regular mashed potatoes. It's okay if it looks a little bit watery, because there's not the starch in it the way potatoes have. It's not going to absorb the butter quite as much, but it'll cook off a little bit when we actually go to bake it. Now that all the components are done, I'm going to actually put it together. So you could do it in like a large baking dish. I have these individual serving size ones that I love using. It just makes serving it up so much easier. That way you just have to like give each person one of these little dishes. So you can do a large one or just like these individual ones, whatever you have on hand. Okay, first things first, I'm going to put in the base. So this is that meat and veggie mixture that we just made. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. All the fall vibes, all the coziness that you want in one meal. Then I'm going to top it with that cauliflower mixture. So I'm just going to evenly spread it between each one. So with using the cauliflower instead of the russet potato, you still get a ton of flavor, but you also get that low glycemic load veggie addition in here too. And then I'm just going to pop it in the oven for 25 minutes and then let it cool for 10 minutes once I take it out. Just a little quick tip. I like to put mine on a baking sheet like this because sometimes the juices can like boil over a little bit. That way this baking dish will help to catch it so it doesn't get all over your stove. Oh, okay, it's done. I just got a bite. I've let this bite cool for like a few minutes because it's piping hot, but I have to give it a taste test. Oh my gosh. Every cozy, vibey feeling you want from fall in a bite. If you want those step-by-step details for the recipe, I do have it linked down description below. Otherwise, if you want another amazing fall recipe, my protein hot chocolate without any sugar, it's so good. You can find that with this video next. Also, if you're new to my channel and you love this science-backed information, make sure you subscribe right here. Come out new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. All right, guys, I'm going to go enjoy this and I'll see you in my next video.